Hello everybody, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program PvP. We are now reaching the end of our series, so I'm going to give a very quick little look at how things are going currently. So as the series has been going on, I've been giving a few little updates on what's captured and what's not captured. The way we decide who is the winner, it's based on a point system based on who controls orbital bodies. So a moon, a planet, it doesn't matter as long as you're controlling specific planetary bodies. So very quickly going through the map, Gilly, down here, the moon, around Eve is the only presence around Gilly is by the Northern Coalition, so they have 1 point there. Around Eve itself, there is a Northern Coalition small satellite, but there's a Kerbal Industries capital vessel, and I've also landed a non-military mission down here. So at the moment I have more control points than the Northern Coalition. The different vehicles and different types have different control points. A small satellite is the least number of points, whereas a manned military mission landed on the surface is the most points, and there's various in-betweens. Pulling out and going straight, we're going to skip Kerbin for a second and we're going to go and have a look at Duna. Duna currently, Ike is controlled by the Northern Coalition, a Northern Coalition satellite. And Duna currently is fully staffed by the Northern Coalition, so the Northern Coalition are also in charge of Duna and Ike, so that's 3 to Northern Coalition so far and 1 to Kerbal Industries. But this is where it gets a little bit more fun, because most of the action has been in the Kerbin system. So we've got Minimus out here, the Mun, and Kerbin, sorry. So let's quickly have a look at Minimus. Minimus, there is a Northern Coalition unmanned probe satellite. So do Kerbal Industries have the same, so they both cancel each other out and don't count any points. So beyond that, Kerbal Industries have two manned military orbital missions, so that counts as 2 points, so that's a Kerbal Industry win, bringing my total of Kerbal Industries from 1 to 2. So we're going to move to the Mun. Now, the Mun has been incredibly hotly contested over the course of several of the series. It's the target everybody wants to go to. The Northern Coalition and Kerbal Industries both have probes in orbit, so they cancel each other out. But Kerbal Industries have got not only military vessels currently active in orbit, the Northern Coalition did try and destroy them, but failed. So Kerbal Industries have got military vessels in orbit, but they also have a military landed base, guarded base with weapons on the surface as well, making the Mun a Kerbal Industries win. So it's 3-3 at the moment between the Northern Coalition and Kerbal Industries. None of the new competitors currently have any points around any planets, but that's going to change because we come back to Kerbin. Now, the Kerbal Industries, Shaw Corp and HEE Corp all have probes in orbit. The Northern Coalition probes were all destroyed by Shaw Corp in their last turn. Shaw Corp managed to wipe out every Northern Coalition asset in orbit around Kerbin, which is brilliant news for the three corporations and good news for Shaw Corp. So we all cancel each other out. So nobody got any points by that. But Shaw Corp have a military vessel in orbit, and that's uncontested, so they get 2 points. HEE have a manned space station in their mothership. It's a civilian class station, so it's worth slightly less points, which is 1.5 points. And currently there are vessels on the surface of Kerbin, near to the Kerbal Space Center, which look like they're Northern Coalition. So I think what I'm going to try and do is contest that. If the Northern Coalition win the land war and have the most points, that means that the Northern Coalition, if they capture Kerbin's planetary bases, will have the most points overall, and the Northern Coalition, the bad guys in this series, will win overall. If, on the other hand, I win on the planet's surface, I will then have the most points overall, and Kerbal Industries specifically will have won Series 3. But if it's a draw, neither of us win, so that we both end up with the active vessels or no vessels whatsoever, and it's a contested draw, then it's a draw between the Northern Coalition and Kerbal Industries, and at that point, as a draw, you don't get any points, so it would then go back to Sharkorp, who have got an active military vessel in orbit. Now, it's up to Sharkorp whether they'd like to add his points to the Northern Coalition points, and I don't mind adding my points as well, to the three corporations, i.e. all three of us players all club together to try and get the maximum number of points to make sure that the Northern Coalition is defeated in this series, as that was kind of the point of us teaming up. But it didn't exactly work out that way, and we haven't fought each other, but we haven't been working together, so Sharkorp might not want to and might prefer a contested result, i.e. no clear winner to the end of this series. But that would be up to Sharkorp to decide what's going on. In the meantime, I've got a bit of a threat to deal with. Now, in the storyline, the Northern Coalition has been amassing at their borders up north here since they took over a lot of the free corporations, and Sharkorp, HEE, we've all been deploying from the Space Center from combined assets. Now, the Northern Coalition recently punched through the front lines in a blitzkrieg style armoured frontal assault, using tanks and armoured transports to push past the their enemies' lines, push past the three corporations and head towards their cities and towards their main control points, which for me is the Kerbal Space Center. Now, currently what I think is approaching, because I can't switch to them, I need to have something which can kind of go out and look at them. This is probably the spear tip of a much larger assault, but if we can blunt the spear tip, that will give me enough time to deploy forces to defend in a land war. Now, the spear tip, I'm assuming, is going to consist of tanks, transporters, probably AAAs to stop me from killing them, anything that a mobile army needs. The good thing is, if I hold them back, if I stop them before they get to the Kerbal Space Center, they have overextended their lines. They have punched through the forces without trying to hold any territory and have charged towards our cities and control points in an effort to try and blitzkrieg us before we can mount a defence. So their supply lines are relatively open and weak, which means it's a do or die for them. They either succeed, take over the cities so the armies basically have nobody commanding them, or do they have their supply lines cut and they end up surrounded in our country. So yes, they've managed to outpace our own land-based armies. We've got much more foot troops and a lot less tanks and quick armoured transports. So I'm going to come back out of here, and I need to investigate what is coming towards me. I don't know what is actually there. I'm assuming it's going to be something a bit deadly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch a UAV, an unmanned aerial vehicle. It will be armed. They can't carry a lot because it's a UAV. Let's load it in. So this is my drone airship. It means I can investigate the enemy, and if it gets blown out of the air, no Kerbals get to die. It has cameras, communications. It has 3 air-to-ground medium-grade weapons, and it's pretty fast and manoeuvrable. It has outsized engines for a ship of its size. Really, it should only have one small engine here, but I decided to go for something that's fast. It's got quite a lot of fuel on board. It is meant to be long range, but it's not meant to be high altitude. It's kind of like a contour hugging, extremely fast, extremely manoeuvrable. It can stall out itself as part of its manoeuvring to try and dodge rockets and any such things. So we've got a craft information here. So button 1. Let me just undo that. So button 1 for me. Come on. There you go. So button 1 would activate my camera and my nose. 2 is arm and disarm. 3 is next weapon. 4 is fire, and 5 is countermeasures, and these have been set up via my action groups, making this little drone much easier to control. So let's go to launch, and once we've got the aircraft off the ground, I'll explain to you what my plan is for this little aircraft. I mean, I've got to find out what kind of forces I'm up against, and the only real way to do that is to get close and personal. So we're going to go and hopefully fly. There we go. So turn on my controls, throttle up. Now she does carry quite a lot of fuel. If I take about half the fuel out, then she'd still be combat operational for things that are this close. But I might as well leave it as it is. As you can see, it's already doing 116 meters per second before it's even got just gone past the halfway point now. So she's a quick bird. So let's lift her up, nose up, get the gear in as quickly as possible. I'm going to leave her on full burn, and I'm going to pull her around, and I'm going to follow the bay. So let's not crash. So I'm going to follow the bay around. If you see on the edge here, there is a rise, like almost a mountain coming out of the bay. So if I stay below 100 meters, the enemy ships shouldn't be able to see me. I should be able to come upon them without giving them too much advance warning. So I'm going to cut until for when I get a bit closer. So as you can see, I've on my weapon systems, and I've selected my missiles, and we're going to pop up over this rise, and then we're going to follow it into a dip. There we go. And we're still keeping most of the terrain in between us and the enemy. And you can see this craft's really, really manoeuvrable, so it's pretty good. It can outmaneuver itself. It's too manoeuvrable almost. It's unstable, which when you're outmaneuvering missiles... So we've just had a bit of a lag spike, as you can see. It looks like we've got some incomings. So let's, while it's loading, let's toggle me onto the correct team. There we go. So we've just hit a bit more lag. The game, it's just loaded in the physics, so we can actually see them. So let's. What have we've got one group of tanks off to the right there. We've got another group of tanks in front in a line here. And it looks like we've got a long line of carriers, yes. So we've got tanks here, tanks there, and then it looks like we've got carriers in 1, 2, 3, 4 AA defences. Let's see what they call it. So they're missile defences. Let's come out of the camera view. We're at 300 meters, which is fine. I want to attack the tanks. The tanks are the biggest threat at the moment. So, tank has been targeted, so fire. Next tank, fire. And let's try taking out that tank. Now you can see they're strafing against this, they're attacking the missiles. They've got their missile systems arms. Firing. Okay, looks like one of the missiles has been taken down. Okay, we've got incoming. So I'm going to get ready on the countermeasures. And I'm going to scroll the thing. Okay, one good hit on the tank. One good hit on the tank. missile still acquiring me. Missile missed me, and a good hit on the second tank. Good hit on second tank. We've still got incoming missiles, so I'm going to bring me around and take this home. We've done all we needed to do. It looks like I've taken out 2 tanks successfully. There we go. Yeah, definitely 2 strikes in the tank. You see this tank here is kind of being blown up into the air. I think that's rolling down a hill. No, it's about to come down. You can see the shadow. There we go. So definitely 2 tanks out of action, which is brilliant news. So now they've got 3 tanks. They've still got their transporters, and they've still got their missile batteries up and running. But I'm going to bring this back home. I've expended all my munitions, and we've had a good scout. And then we'll see what you can do. So I'll see you in a second once we're this close to the airfield. Okay, so we are getting back towards the command center. As you can see, we've left the enemy behind, and I'm going to need to start maneuvering to line up on the runway. I throttled down to about just above half throttle, and I'm going to be pulling it back a little bit. Now we've reduced the throttle, and manoeuvrability is slightly less. It's still an incredibly manoeuvrable ship. So let's just bring it back down, deploy gear. Let's try and get lined up on the runway. We're bleeding off too much speed, I think. Yeah, we're bleeding off too much speed. So just turn the engines on just a touch, just trying to keep its nose up. We're still going down, so let's bring up the speed a little bit. Okay, we're going to make it to the runway, so let's just throttle off. Gear is down. Nope, I don't want to land here. Don't want to land here. Okay, apparently we're landing here. No! Just clip the light, Oh, well, never mind. Okay, so, well, our drone was destroyed by our own incompetence, but it was only a drone, so we don't mind too much. Plenty more where they came from, kind of. It is Kerbal Industries anyway. So I'm going to bring out our next ship designed to destroy those targets.